So what I'd like to do is I'd like to warm up with an E melodic minor scale, and then what we're going to do is sing through melody 514 on page 74. Page 74, number 514. Let's go ahead and try melodic minor, because that has all the inflections of scale degrees 6 and 7. Here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, sol, fa, re, do. Can we have busy? What a way to wake up in the morning. Okay, so 514, what syllable does it start on? May. Okay, so can you all hum May? This is going to be a hand sign example. Oh, it looks like it's in cut time. So I'm going to be tapping the quarter note, because that's the division. Okay. How about a tempo of 1 and 2? May, re, do, ti, do, re, re, do, do, re, fa, sol, sol, fa, sol, fa, fa, re, do, 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 sol, 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 fa, fa, re, fa, re, do, sol, fa, That's good enough for me. Do you feel like your voice is semi-warmed up? Probably not, but that's all right. All right, so the 3 melodies I'd like to hear today from you all, whoever's drawn, unless I get volunteered, are melody 513, 515, and 516. 13, 15, and 16 in that order. Do I have any volunteers before I hold it? Okay, let's see who's first. First is Hannah. 513. In a minute here. Okay. Next one I have is Zoe, who's not here. Next name I have is Kylie. So that'll be 515. And the last name I have is Riley. I guess if your name rhymes with Kylie or Riley. Well, yours doesn't, but you were, that's all right. So Riley will be doing a 516 in a moment. Yes?
Can I move on my nose?
Yeah. Okay, 513, Hannah, can you tell me what minor key you're in?
C.
C what?
Minor. Oh, C sharp minor.
Yeah,
Sorry.
C sharp minor, that's right. Okay, so we'll have you sing a melodic minor scale first, so let me give you the time. the way down it's Tay and Lay. Okay, can we try coming down one more time? There you go. Yeah, I think as long as the Tay is lowered on the way down, then the Lay is going to follow. I think they're a little too high at first. Okay, so can you reach a low Sol? Yeah, good job. Okay, yours looks like it's connecting. Okay.
Wait, oh, sorry, is it okay when I start?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Go right ahead.
So, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, ti, do, re, mi, do. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're going to start over. Careful with the rhythm in the second measure.
I want to.
Do, re, mi, re, do, ti.
Yeah, I just kept going.
Okay. Otherwise, you're doing really good.
So, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, ti, do, re, mi, do, re. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. Where's Ray? Good.
Yeah. Re,
Good.
re, mi, mi, fa, fa, sol, do, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do.
Yeah, that's basically it. I think you just got to make sure your connecting is a little more coordinated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can hear the pitches that you need to sing, which is real encouraging. That's half the battle right there, I think. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. We'll go to Kylie. Kylie had 550. And what key are you in, Kylie?
A.
That's right. You do not have to observe the repeat for the first line, but when you get to the end, I would like you to go back to the beginning for the DCL thing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get A out of the piano. You sing a melodic minor scale?
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Okay. I think on the way up, the La and the T were just a little short, but you're still on Do, so we're gonna hang on to that. And you start on Do, it looks like. Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to get the T. A is like my lowest.
Okay. Would you like me to change the key, or should we just?
Yeah, and then we just up a little bit would be good.
Which, how far?
Just like a whole step would
Just a whole
probably be
step?
good.
Okay, that'd be fine. You don't need to sing the scale again.
Do, re, mi, do, ti, do, re, mi, do, mi, fa, sol, 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 fa, mi, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, sol, fa, mi, do, re, mi, do, ti, do, re, do.
Yes, very good. Nicely done with the coordination and everything. Ooh, that's very encouraging to hear. Thank you. Okay, and then 516, we're going to go to Riley. And Riley, what key are you in?
C minor.
That's right, C minor. And Riley, you do not have to take the repeat of those first four measures either. Okay, so you can just plow through if you'd like. Let's get a C. Try a melodic minor scale, please.
Do, re, mi, fa,
Sounds good to me. Good. And find your first pitch. Yeah, and here's his hand signs.
Re, do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi,
Okay, where's May? The pitch?
mi,
There it is.
mi, re, mi, do, ti, do, re, do, mi, sol, fa, mi, re, do.
Good job, thank you. That's also very encouraging. You're doing just fine. Doing just fine. Boy, this is nice to hear. Are all of the names that I got from Greg, are all the quizzes going to be this good? Yeah, well, I think they could be. All right, thank you. This is just driving me nuts. Does this mask drive me nuts? Okay, no more quizzing for today. I'll try to keep this mask on for a little longer. What I would like to do is I'd like to look at melody number 522. This is one that's assigned for next class. It's on the bottom of page 75. And I'll get us some F sharp tonic, and we'll be singing the melodic minor scale in a moment. What is interesting, or I think the main thing we need to focus on for 522 is that there is a leap of a minor sixth from the first line going to the second line. So we have to hear sol, me, sol, me, sol, me, that kind of thing. I don't know what key what it's going to be in, but that's what we need to focus on. Okay. Let's go through the melodic minor scale one more time for practice. Ready? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Can we arpeggiate, please? Do, me, sol, do, sol, me, do. All right, let's just try a few notes from the arpeggiation from the tonic chord. Everyone follow my hand, please. Can you all sing a low do? Ready? Do. Do one more time. Okay. Yeah, so that's that leap that we're going to need to sing across the line break. Sol, me. One of these classes I'm going to have to show you that video of that 80s tune that has that leap. I don't have it ready today, but have you ever heard the tune, I wear my sunglasses at night? Yeah. Starts out with bum, 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 bum. So if you can hear that leap of that minor sixes. We'll get that, I'll get that another day. Okay, so where's do? I think that's where it is. So where's the upper sol? That looks like that's where we start in 522. Can you hum it? Yeah. And we're going to be hand signing. And apparently we can take this slow. So let's try it at a tempo, just sight reading the best we can. Let's try it about this tempo. 1, 2, ready, and read. Sol, fa, mi, re, do, sol, sol. really not too bad, as long as you can kind of hear where your goal is, where your minor May that you're leaping to from Sol is. I think that's the main thing. Can we sing through this one more time? Check our tuning. And let's see if we can observe the dynamics. Which means we're going to sing most of it very quietly. That's not bad. Can you hum a high Sol for me? Okay, one more time through. 1, 2, ready, and go. Good. Shouldn't take breathing fresh air for granted. Not on those masks. I can't imagine what it must be like. I mean, did you see the news about all those forest fires over in California? Man, seems like half the state is on fire there sometimes. Must be hard to breathe in all that smoke. Okay, so let's go ahead and shift gears now to some ear training. Today we're going to do some rhythmic dictation, and the rhythmic dictation is something new, so to speak, today. We are going to be dealing with rhythms that contain dots and or ties. I don't think we've done that before in rhythmic dictation. Eventually, you'll need to be on page 123, but I do need to do a little bit of explaining first. So, rhythmic dictation involving dots and or ties. First of all, it would be helpful for you to know that dots can occur at the beat level or at the division of the beat level. And with this example I have up on the board, kind of illustrates both. This is an example of a dot at the beat level. We have 1 and 3. This is an example of a dot at the division of the beat level. 3, 4. So we can have dots at this short, quick, smaller level, but we can also have dots at the beat level. Ties can occur at the beat level and also the division level. And ties will often cross bar lines. You can see here's an example of a tie. It is at what I call the beat level because it connects a beat to another beat rather than a division to a division. This tie is obviously across a bar line, and ties will be very frequently found. When you need to use them, they are very frequently found across the bar line. Okay? Because there's no other way to notate a sound when you have a tie across the bar line. Okay? So, what this is going to do is going to silence the downbeat at the beginning of a measure. That might be a little bit, well, new, but it might be a little bit awkward. It might throw you a little bit. Because we're so used to hearing something right on the downbeat, for instance, of this second measure. But if we have a tie into the downbeat of the second measure, you won't hear anything. There will be a silence or nothing being struck on the downbeat. And then you'll get something a little later in the measure. Okay. Now, the most common dotted figures that we're going to encounter in this class are with the longer dotted value before the shorter undotted value. In other words, we're going to most often see things like this: dotted half followed by a quarter, or dotted quarter followed by an eighth, or dotted eighth followed by a 16th. This is normal rhythm, kind of standard procedure, to have the dotted value, the longer value, come before the shorter value. There are rhythms in music where the reverse is true. For instance, if I showed you something like this where I had the 16th note come first and then the dot, that's certainly possible. But I don't think we're going to see, let's see, do I have it in my notes? I think we're not going to even see the reverse at all. In other words, we're not going to have these rhythms that go ba, ba. It's going to rather go ba, 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 instead of ba, ba, ba. Okay? So we won't see that. We probably won't see this. And we probably won't see the reverse of this one, which is that. Kind of cool. Don't have to worry about those weird sounding, weird notated even rhythms. Okay. Now, the use of ties, as we know, can create syncopated sounds, but always being aware of where the beat is will certainly help in the dictation of tied notes. Okay? So you thought it was important to keep counting and know where the beat is when we did rhythmic dictations before. Now I think it's even more imperative, because sometimes if you miss a beat, right at the beginning of a measure especially, I don't want it to throw you, I just want you to keep on counting. Just because you don't hear something doesn't mean there isn't anything there. And I'll explain that in a few minutes. But it's really crucial, it's really important to keep counting and know where the beat is, especially when we deal with some syncopated sounds, which can result with ties, especially. Okay. Now, the question becomes, when we get to this stage of rhythmic dictation, do you need to adjust or refine your rhythmic shorthand system of notation in order to accurately account for the dots and the times? That's always a question I have for students at this point. You may not. Do you need to adjust your system of notation? In other words, your chicken scratches or whatever you write, at the beats, either above or below the measure in order to capture the information. You need to make a little adjustment now to accommodate for dots and ties. Perhaps, if you do, maybe it's not that big of an adjustment at all. Maybe it's no big deal. Maybe you don't need to adjust your shorthand system of notation. You can see that the rhythm I have up on the board there, if I'm in 4, you could tap it out, or you could hear this, the rhythm as da, 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 da. Now, how might one go about notating without putting the notes in the staff just right away, but getting some information down quickly? Well, let me see if I can redo it up here. Da, maybe you could do da. Let's see, da, da, da. See what I'm doing, sort of? This might be one idea. Da, 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 da. Oh man, I think I just did a one long one like that. So I would imagine one adjustment that you need to make is, of course, you need to start adding dots to some notes when you hear a long note value. A longer note value than one that's just either a beat long or a half a beat long, a division of the beat long. Also, if you want to use the tie in your shorthand system of notation, that's perfectly fine. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, you'll know what that means. And however you notate eighth notes and or 16th notes, things like that, that can probably mostly stay the same. I don't think you have to change that or overhaul it at all. I'm just trying to get you thinking about how will you capture the information for dotted rhythms and also include ties. And if we have some time at the end, then maybe I can ask someone to come to the board and share their system. Because I think it helps when others see what ideas might work for other students. If you find out what works for your peers, you might think, oh, I never thought of that, or oh, I might try that. I'll see if that works for me, that kind of thing. Okay, so for just our first attempt at this for practice, on page 123 in your ear training book, I would like to go through rhythm number 2, which is right near the middle of the page. It should only be one line long. Do you all have your book, or does someone need me to notate? I think if you all have your book, then you know that there's a pickup beat and you know that it's in 4/4. You don't necessarily need to notate on board. Okay? So page 123, number 2. Do you still have that page in your book? I didn't collect that page out of your book, did I? Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt for me to at least show this. Yeah, let's do this. One, two, three, 4 full minutes. Plus a pickup. I don't know if the author gives you the pickup measure, but I will if he doesn't. That's just one beat, that's a pickup measure. Did you get that? Oh, good, good, good. Now, do we know how to count these kinds of figures? Sure we do. Right? For us, it's just something like 4, it's not the full 4 E and it's just 4. We've done that before. Okay? So this particular figure, rhythmic figure, you probably will have to write many times this unit. Get used to writing this, the dotted eighth being to a single 16th. Very common. Very common in music. Oh, I forgot to mention one important thing. And that is, now I erased the example that I had on the board before. But when you have a tie that goes across the bar, did you know that there must always be a note or a rest on the downbeat of a measure, regardless of whether it's tied from a previous note or not? So just because, I was going to tell you this and I forgot, just because you might not hear anything, like let's say there's a note right on the downbeat, just because you won't hear anything right on the downbeat of a measure, that doesn't mean there isn't something there. There is always something there. It's always got to be a note tied from the previous if you don't hear anything, or it's got to be a rest. But there has to be something always at the downbeat of a measure, a new measure. Something has to be notated there. You can't just like skip it and leave just empty space, that kind of thing. That was one thing I was going to mention. Okay, let's see how it goes. Again, don't worry about the pitches. I'm going to play a melody. Okay. Let me give you a tempo. I'll give you about 3 beats, and I'll come in on the pickup beat 4. How about a tempo of 1 E and 2 E and 3 E? Okay, despite the dots and so forth, hopefully you can still keep an idea of where the beat is and be counting and know what beat we're on as you go through and listen to each measure. I'll try to be as clear as I can. Let's try it again. 3 beats of preparation, and then I'll come in on the pickup beat 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Ask yourself, do the notes that are of longer duration, do they require a dot or a tie? Also be aware that ties are never required on notes that are all within the same beat. You never need to tie, like for instance, you would never need to tie these 2 notes together because they're within the same beat. It's a different way to write it. Ties always connect notes on different beats or in different measures. I'd like to play it for you 2 more times, since this is our first attempt at this sort of thing. So this will be hearing number 4. 1 and 2 and 3. let's see here. Okay, so you got the 1, 2, 3, and I guess 4 should go over here. This is actually lasting. Dun, dun, dun. So this figure needs to be put on beat 3. This lasts a little longer. Yeah. How's it coming? Okay. Well, we'll see the answer in a bit, but if you're completely stuck, please let me know. Maybe it would be best to hear it another time and then start going over the answers. You can see how it shakes out in notation. Okay, so this is the last hearing. This is the 5th hearing for something this long. I think that's a good number of hearings. All right, so here's the tempo again. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. Now I'm glad that I left a lot of time in class for this because always the first time you do something with rhythm, dots and ties, it can be a little bit confusing. So I started out giving you 3 beats and I tried to give you about the tempo or the pace of the subdivision, the 16th. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. So this is 4, a 1. So we've got something here. And actually is a quarter note with a dot. We have 1 and 3 of 4, right? So you got to put down the right beat. 1, bypass 2, and 3 of. And then 4 is the same thing as beat 3. 3 of 4 of 1. Now, let's stop there just pause there for a second. When I walked around, I know some people were having trouble just getting this much. I can understand, especially if you haven't done this before. But if you're counting the beats, 1, bypass 2, and 3 of 4. So this lines up with this. There's nothing there because there's a dot that bypasses it. Do you see how important it is to be counting the beats and knowing where the beats are? Yes.
Okay, this might be a weird question, but like I put a tie there to like negate it instead of doing like a dot.
Oh, so did you notate the first 2 beats like this?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be perfectly fine.
Okay.
You would get full credit for that in this class. Yeah,
Thank you.
good question, good comment. Forgot about that other way to notate. Does anyone know how long the first note in this measure lasted? How many beats? 3. That's right, it was 3 beats. So how do you notate a note with 3 beats? Well, one way is to use a dotted half. So, bum, 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 1, 2, 3. Now, beat 4, what kind of figure do we have? Dun, dun, dun. That's one of these again. And then there were some quarter notes. Da, 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 da. Then what happened? the last measure? I thought I saw somebody who had it on your paper. Yeah, there's a tie. So when all is said and done, we have, at this juncture, dun, 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 dun. See how there's nothing on B1? But there's got to be something notated there. 2, 3, 4. So again, you can't just skip this even though you don't hear anything on B1 of this measure. If, again, it was from your sound files that you listened to, and it wasn't very clear or very audible, I would also accept this. I would also accept a quarter note there, and if you didn't hear anything, I would accept a quarter rest. And I would give you full credit for that. Again, because I know it's sometimes hard to hear. But there's got to be something notated on B1 of this measure, even though you don't hear anything articulated at that point. Okay. I know this is our first attempt at doing this. Does anyone have any questions, like, for instance, how did you get this? Or I couldn't hear this. How did you know that it was this, that you should notate it that way? Or at least, now that I show the answer, at least can you see how I got the answer? Especially if I remember what the rhythm is. Okay. I was wondering if, let me do this. Okay, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Would anyone, again, I don't know exactly how you do it, would anyone, although I know it's kind of high, would anyone like to come to the board and share their system of notation, capturing this kind of rhythmic information down so that you can put it on the staff later? And I'll even let you, when you come to the board, I'll let you right here so that it's not so high. Did anyone here find something that worked for them pretty well? Okay. Would anyone, we got a few minutes. Does anyone want to come to the board or not? Go ahead. Please.
So what I do, since we have so many hearings, is like I'll listen, and I'll listen for stuff that's like on a beat, and I'll put like a little dash, and if something's like off the beat, or it's like one of these things, I'll just put a dash in between, and then when we go through on the second time, I'll listen for these, and then try and like draw it up here. So for that, like I just did like a little, like one of those like that, just so I know it's right there. So if it's not on the downbeat, I kind of just like make a mental note to listen specifically for that, or like these, and usually by the third hearing I have everything figured out.
Okay, wow. And that obviously works for you because you got it, right? Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else want to come to the board and share? Oh, okay.
I was like similar. I also wrote like I did 1 and 2 and
Okay.
like the whole thing, so like you know like the and and then that's how I got like and then I also like split star or something wasn't on the beat.
Okay.
It's kind of similar, but that way at least I'd be like, oh, that's different. That's not like what my hand did.
Yeah.
So that way we're doing like downbeat or the subdivision.
Okay, I kind of like this idea where you've got all the subdivisions there, so I mean everything is accounted for, and you can put a mark anywhere in that subdivision, because you know nothing's going to be faster or shorter than a subdivision. I also like how you mentioned, like, if you're tapping or you're counting and something doesn't land right on the beat or right on the off beat, then you know it's got to be just a little bit off kilter from there. Yeah, okay, good. These things can be very helpful. Thank you for sharing. We are running out of time, but if we get a chance to do rhythmic dictation again before the next test, we'll see if we can share a little more of these ideas. Because again, something that works for somebody may very well help someone else in the class that they didn't think of that idea before. Okay, yeah, we better stop now so that I can get ready for theory. thank you all. So this is where we'll finish, and some of you I won't see until Wednesday, but that's okay.